Three, two, one. Assalamu alaikum, people listening and watching. You're tuning into the Let's Walk podcast. I am your host, Ataur Rahman, and today's guest is Uzair Khalid, an Arabic teacher from Bangalore. And today he'll be sharing his journey and as to how he's impacting people and how he is helping empower people understand the word of God, understand the language, understand the beauty, the depth, and even the width of every single word that Quran has, and to really embody that and not only be mere a reader of Quran and to understand and deeply apply it in our lives. And Assalamu alaikum, brother. Thank you for being here.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm glad that I'm here and I'd like to share all my experiences and all my knowledge, and inshallah, I'm hoping to go forward with it.
So, whenever we start a podcast or whenever we start an interview, we start with a controversial question or we ask some random question so that we get the bond going on. Okay.
Great.
So, the first question is, what is that one thing you love about your parents that you hated while you were a kid, but now you feel like, that was the best thing they did?
Oh, interesting question. One thing that I hate about something that my parents did when I was a kid, but I love it most right now. I think uh, it's something that something your parents limit you to. They don't give you that freedom in with respect to something that they don't allow you to possess it freely or deal with it freely, and that is something that teaches you to build good patience. It teaches you to uh, you know possess these qualities that can prevail you fruits in the long run. So I think limiting me in some aspects, in some parts of my life, in some areas, is something that I love the most about my parents right now, which I obviously hated when I was a child. Obviously, when you are a child, you like to be a free bird. You like to fly, you like to do things that you see, and you like to do everything that you watch. But I wasn't given that freedom for everything that I saw or watched. So yeah, that's one thing that I love about my parents right now. They have indeed induced in me some better qualities, which I hated a while ago.
That's nice to hear. I think that everyone goes through this same phase, where they hate something that their parents did, whether it's not giving them the Xbox, PS2, or whatever it was. But when
Exactly.
they grow up, they're like, Alhamdulillah, they did not give me
Yeah,
that sort of feeling.
right.
So the next question is, um, what is it actually? Yes, it is. What is your ultimate cheat meal, or what is the best food you like?
My ultimate cheat meal. I think it's common with the millennials right now. It's pizzas with extra cheese. Right.
I would like to start off with, how did you basically get into studying Arabic? And like, did you like figure it out right from the starting? You like, I want to grow up and be like an Arabic teacher. Or I want to go into this field. How did you figure out, or how did you like? When was your initial exposure, basically?
If I have to answer this question, then Arabic and I go back a long way, and it started when I was a child, literally a child. So I was like in somewhere at my age 4 or 5, and I was introduced to Arabic language by my father, obviously, who is MJ Khalid, the director of Khalid Arabic Academy, and he's also a Arabic teacher as well as Arabic trainer. So my dad was the person who introduced me to the language, and trust me, at that particular age, I was already knowing Arabic pronouns. I was already knowing Arabic pronouns. So yeah, I was 5 years old, and my father was the person who introduced me to the language, and I initially started from my primary schooling. So it was like I did my Madina Arabic level 1, when I was somewhere in the standard 6 or 7. I was already done with it. And then after high schooling, I went to Jamia Darus Salam, Umrabad, which is in Ambur, Tamil Nadu, one of the greatest madrasas in South India. So I'd been there for my Alimiyat, that is Alim course, but I could just complete 1 year. And after that, in the meantime, I studied with a couple of other teachers who happened to be my dad's friends as well. And one of them is Ustad Ali Javed, the teacher of who's the Arabic language teacher of Oasis International School, an Islamic body here in Bangalore, an Islamic education school in Bangalore. And I studied with him Medina Arabic level 2 and 3. And then for a short period of time, I happened to switch my studies. I have happened to do my diploma in computer science and engineering and other things like my pre-universities and stuff. And then after that again, I started learning advanced, or you can call it professional Arabic course from Al Imam Muhammad Ibn Saud University from Riyadh with you know, with graduates from Medina University here in Bangalore. So they have opened an institution here, and I'm doing the professional courses from them. Alhamdulillah. So that's how I could say that I could structurize on how I studied Arabic language, on how I was introduced to language, and where I am I today.
So, like, I would say, yeah, like, how has studying with Madina graduates, changed, or I would say, impacted you? Like, is it a difference between studying from them or like other teachers? Are there difference in strategies or difference in I don't know what, but
It really depends upon the method a teacher utilizes to deliver whatever he's teaching. So it really depends upon his methodologies. But somewhere I believe that even if you are like a graduate from Medina University, or if you are like a traditional teacher here, you don't happen to possess those methodologies that are in trend now, like the modern methodologies that you call it. So I have a blend of both these traditional and modern methodologies used by my teacher, who are graduates from Medina University. But it's, if I have to say that, it's more, the classes are more like verbal. It's just more like listening and taking down notes, the traditional ways, I can say.
yeah, like you said, right? Yeah, it's more sort of listening and writing. This is actually a form of passive learning, right? And
Exactly.
I feel, and when you employ techniques such as hand, what do you call that direction? I forgot the thing.
It's
Hand
body
memory,
language.
the body language and whatnot. It's sort of more active learning, and we'll touch it in the later part of the podcast. But for now,
Exactly.
how did you transition into teaching? Now that you have you studied with those graduates, you did your advanced course, and how did you change that? No, I have to teach other people now. How did you go into that? And
I
actually not pursue the conventional stuff. Yes, I want to be an engineer, or that's all.
exactly. I wanted to be a computer science engineer. I wanted to be a techie, but then I had to switch my careers on, or plan on doing something else like teaching Arabic language, because I felt that this language has its beauty. Its essence is not felt by every student who learns Arabic language. Every Muslim, or a student who tries to learn Arabic language, somewhere, you know at some point he doesn't get to, he doesn't get introduced to this part where he feels like this is the most beautiful language. And for the community, for the people, for the modern youth of our community, the reason why I transited in teaching Arabic language is because I felt that the word of Allah, like you said, the Quran could only be introduced if you can understand Arabic language. you know, understanding it through translations or through the lectures on tafsirs, you might get a overview of what the chapter is dealing with or what the verse is dealing with, but the true, meaning of the verse or the chapter could only be understood if you can learn Arabic language, and obviously you can understand the Quran better if you know Arabic language. So that's the need I felt, and that's how I switched my career into teaching Arabic today.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Um, like you said that you felt a greater need that that people you can impact more people. That's how you made the decision, right?
Exactly.
So, like, how long have you been teaching Arabic now? Mm.
Uh, I don't know when I really got started. I think it's more than 3 years now.
3 years now, mashallah. So, like, how has your teaching techniques evolved over the years? Now, like you said, you employ modern active recall, body language, hand memory techniques, and whatnot. So, like, how has it evolved over the years? Like, 3 years is a long time, right? A lot of students. So, you
Exactly.
said, okay, we can fine tune it a little bit more. Push it over here, bring this thing back. So, how has it changed?
Right. It has changed along the way. I have improvised the methodologies that I've been teaching in my, in obviously in teaching Arabic language. I used to have this traditional ways of teaching Arabic language, but then I felt the need that, uh, it depends upon the student as well. A student could be just, like what do you call, we have different kinds of learners. We have kinetic kinesthetic learners,
Kinesthetic, auditory, visual.
auditory and visual learners. So it really depends upon what the student is more interested into, or what he'd like to go with more. So I had a blend of all these categories here. So if a student is more into visuals, I presented him the contents visually. So I provided him more videos, more polling questions, and more sort of stories to understand what's being done in the class. So these are the small little methodologies that I provided visual learners. But for kinesthetic learners, I like to go with sign languages. I like to go with something like, something I relate to as karate, but not exactly karate, but just to understand a few words, a few sounds that you can practice, like, as if though you're practicing karate. And obviously, then I have a few stories that I ask my students to, like, imagine. So there are, like, a few
Yeah, the
methodologies
story
that
for
I
Fataha, right?
exactly. So I
Allah,
have
the guy goes open the door,
exactly the
and
story
then
for verbs. Exactly, story to remember the major verbs in Arabic language. So, so I have a few little other methodologies that I implement in my teaching, and that has really proven me that my students are learning effectively. So, Alhamdulillah for that, first of all. And the other thing is, I didn't stop myself or limit myself from learning these methodologies. So, what I did was I enrolled into a teacher course from SIT Grad Institute in Vermont, USA. So, Alhamdulillah, I am certified teacher trainer from SIT Graduate Institute from Vermont, USA as well. And the course was sponsored by the US Embassy from Delhi, and the partners, or like what do you call, the associates with the course were National Geography. Right. So, Alhamdulillah. So that's where I learned the trending methodologies in teaching. Right. And then I also have this access teacher program. So that's where I still keep learning, something new, something how you can modify a content or tune, a chapter and deliver it more effectively, or using different methods of teaching. Yeah.
that's interesting. Like even if you're a teacher, there's like no stop. Like you stop learning
Exactly. You're not limiting yourself, you're learning.
like till
You
the
you
end.
grab all those opportunities and you keep growing yourself.
Wow, that's awesome. You know, like now we have talked a little bit about how uh, these are modern techniques, and how conventional techniques are there, and how you are mixing, matching, and all that. But people don't know what actually the techniques are. So I want you to go in detail as to like how do you actually employ these techniques so that people can understand.
Hmm. So it again depends upon what lesson you're delivering, which particular part of the course, or like which particular part of the language you're delivering. So for pronouns, obviously I'd like to go with sign languages. Say we have 48 personal pronouns in Arabic language. Like in English we have he, she, they, you, us, we, and I. Us and we are exactly the same thing. So for that I use sign languages. So it is believed that amongst any verbal languages apart from them, sign language happens to be the oldest living and existing language today. So we use sign languages to teach pronouns in Arabic language, and then we uh, assist the student with videos and audios. So videos to understand a particular scenario, to understand a particular part of the lesson, and then audios to assist the student in remembering the sounds. Like you have numbers, and then we have something else in Arabic language that we assist the student with audios. So it's like, we know this rhyme, right? As students, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. We still remember it to this day. But if we go back in time, when did we learn this? I think we were in nursery. We were nursery students. That's when we were introduced to these rhymes. So I use the same methodology. I use similar kinds of rhymes, but to teach the contents of Arabic language, so that in the long run, you don't forget these rhymes. So that's how I try to teach Arabic language effectively, to a student, so that he shouldn't just understand it for a brief period of time over here, but also in the long run. So yeah, this is how we assist the children. Like, we provide them handouts and we ask them to do the, you know, highlights, especially not answers. They obviously know the answers. I want them to highlight on what they have answered. So we provide these handouts and ask them to regularly highlight whatever that the student is asked. So yeah, this is how I have, like, changed the methodologies, or induced the new ones in my teaching.
Oh, that's nice. So there's this big question, people have that, say the traditional course is about 2 to 3 years, maximum 4 years. You guys are compressing it into 3 years. What are we missing out on?
Oh, we are actually compressing it. Say, suppose if I have to talk about how much long the duration would be if I have to teach it, teach this course that we have in traditional methodologies, then it would take at least 2 years. But we are just compressing into 5 or 6 months at max. All right. So uh, there's a lot of thing that's missing. That's a lot of thing, because you're learning language here, and especially it's Arabic language. And if you're intending to learn this language to understand the Quran, then obviously, if you look at ulamas, they've taken years together. But obviously, they have taken years together because they learn it in traditional ways. But since the methodologies are evolving regularly, and the duration of the courses and the duration of the learnings are compressing, so in 5 months with us, you will be learning everything that a student, a beginner, or like a person who is approaching the language for the first time, he'll be made to walk across everything that's important. That's like that he has to know in order to like be able to do any advanced courses with ease, or like with more effectiveness. So we are missing a little part, but it's not that we're completely missing everything. but it's just that some things a student should be made to come across in the later run, in the later part of their learnings. So we are not going to touch that part. It is important though, but we're not going to touch it right away. But something that a person must be aware of, the important chapters, you call it, right? Even in examinations, you have some important chapters that carries the highest marks. So you go through them first. And then if you have time, you go through the ones that remains. So exactly the same way, we have a few chapters in combined together in this course, and those are the chapters that a student must really need to go, it must be knowing actually, to learn the language more effectively if he continues to learn it ahead. So yeah, there's nothing major missing. All the majors have been included. Only a little that a student might learn in the later part of the course or later part of his learning. Yeah.
So other question is, how are these classes going to be held?
Interesting question. Since we are dealing with pandemic right now, and we are still not over it yet. So we are currently, having our classes over different platforms like Zoom, Google, and we have WebEx from Cisco. So we are there are a couple of platforms that currently we are utilizing to hold our classes. But it's not recorded classes again, just because it's online. We don't like to supply the student with recorded classes or recorded sessions or anything that's being pre-recorded already. So it's obvious it's going to be live, like we are having it right now. The classes are going to held live, and it's the same thing. If there is need for a student to come on video to learn something like science, to understand a chapter, then obviously we request them to come on video. If not, we're good at audio. And it really depends upon the network again. So if they're having good network, and if they are audible, then I think there's nothing more that's required currently on online platforms. Talking about offline platforms, we are currently just located in Bangalore, and we are located around Atinagar, and we were first before in Bismillah Nagar, that is very close to BTM, but due to some reasons, we had to relocate. So now we are in Atinagar. And again, offline classes are more effective, but I'm leaving no on I'm not compromising it on online classes as well. So I'm trying to make the online classes as effective as the offline classes as well.
Better,
Sorry,
if not better.
if not better.
Uh, so I had a person asking me, a sister asking me last time that these about in-person classes, and like I just want you to touch up on that. Are you having it currently? Where is the location? Uh, what's the duration? Same duration or not? What happens in the in-person?
Okay, right now, like I told you, I'm just doing it online. So I have two batches opening every month. First batch opening in the first week of a month of every month, and the second batch opens as the third week. So two batches per month, and we are doing it online. So it's you are welcome to you know uh, join us in our introductory class. I won't be charging you a penny. You're welcome to join us for the introductory class. I'll be introducing to the language, and also take you across the overview of the course, and help you understand what we're going to learn and how we're going to learn, and what is it you'll be carrying at the end, and how will you be benefiting with this course. How much of Arabic knowledge can you possess after completing the course? So I'll be taking you through an overview of the whole course on in the introductory session, and then from the next class we actually take the registrations. So in the first week, first class is free. Anybody and anyone who's interested is welcome. So for the introductory session, I don't charge them, and if they are interested and if they feel that they can they can be really benefited with this course, then they can enroll themselves, and from the next class we begin with the actual course. So that's going to happen in the first week. Again, in the third week, it's the same thing. So I wait for another 2 weeks to get, people, if they are like interested, and if they enroll, I'll be like, you can join us from the third week of the month. So it's the same thing. Even in the third week, I hold another introductory session to the Arabic language. I do the same thing that I did with the first session in the first week. And yes, that's how it's been going. And everything's been taught online. The materials are couriered to your place, the books and whatever that's required to assist a student with, it's been couriered already to your addresses, the address of the student. And then we share the screen, we share the whiteboard, it's available on platforms. We share videos, we share audios, we have polls, we have breakout rooms where a student can go into and have a word with another student, share his experiences, share his knowledge, or share his learning. Say, suppose if a person has missed a class, so I ask them to go to breakout rooms, and what they can do is the other student can start teaching what he has learned in his previous class to the person who was absent. So I'm actually, trying to build leadership qualities in students here as well. So it's not like, the student is just sitting at his place, listening to me for 15 minutes or 1 hour, and then finally ends the session and doesn't feel satisfied at all. No. Right from the starting till the end of the session, it's the student who leads the session. So I just like, I give them a formula and I have a handout before them. I share a handout before them. So it is they who will be leading this session. So they're going to practice, they're going to construct sentences, they're going to give examples and everything. So it's more student centric sessions, not a teacher just who keeps speaking and it goes on and on and on. No, it's not that. I'll be like, I'm the least, I'm the person who's speaking the least. So I'll take just 5 minutes of the session and the rest 30, 40 minutes is the student who's working on. So
You'll
yeah,
apply the formula, right?
exactly. So
This is
it's
an
not like,
example
I
of
request them. It's not like, I request them to take some time out again, even though they have already invested 1 hour. I don't ask them to invest another half an hour or 20 minutes to practice or do the revisions of what's being taught. No, this 1 hour, 2 hours of your week is enough for you to learn the language effectively. So if I have to give you an example, let me give you an example of first formula, what we do, first formula. So we have something called as a feminine rounder in Arabic language. All right, a feminine rounder. If I had to, if I was on my laptop, I would have already obviously shared you the screen and explained you what the feminine rounder looks like. But if you could just add that, it's like, we're playing with mathematics here. As students, when we were small, obviously we love that multiplication, addition, right? 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 2, 4, and then it went complicated. Okay, 2 square, 2, 3 cube, 10 cube. So that's how it. So we're playing like mathematics here, even though it doesn't get as complicated as cubes or algorithms. It's simple. It deals with addition and subtraction, not even multiplication, no divisions, just subtraction or addition. So if you could add that feminine rounder to a word at the end, then it makes that word to be a feminine word. As simple as that. If you could just add that feminine rounder, there's a special letter, there's a special character in Arabic language. If you could just add that letter at the end of a word, especially a noun, then that word becomes a feminine. That's the example. So if you come across any word that is ending with a feminine rounder in the Quran, now you know that that is a feminine word in it.
so like are the charges same for the in-person classes and the online
Attachments?
classes?
Yeah.
Yeah, the online and like if you have classes in person, are the prices same as the uh, online classes? Because this is one of the questions that the sisters asked.
Uh, I think, I don't like to mark any differences here because it's you're investing same amount of energy, you're investing same amount of time, so there's no differences. You're applying the same methodologies, you're assisting the student with the same material. So I don't think like, it would justify to have different prices for online and for offline. If they were recorded classes, obviously, I'm not investing my time. They're already present, they're pre-recorded. I could just supply the student and charge them very minimal amount. But since it's going to be live, it's going to be interactive, so it's going to be something like as if though we are doing it offline, but it's just like, we're using the online platform. We're still able to see our faces, we're still able to hear our voices. So in that case, I'd like, I don't want to mark any differences. I like to keep the same prices. Right.
That's nice. So, is there any chances that you'll be resuming the in-person class anytime soon? Like, if the pandemic gets over, will you be starting this?
Oh, I've been getting this bad news that the cases are increasing, that we have faced a second wave of corona. So I'm not planning to start any in-person classes like, in a month or two. Maybe I can plan if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets everything right. If we don't have any increase in number of cases, then maybe after Eid al-Adha, that is Bakri, maybe after it, I can plan of starting in-person classes, yes.
Mm.
But until then,
But,
it's going to be online.
for some reason, I feel still people are skeptical about online classes because it is not being the thing in India, and
They are actually, yes.
it's a new thing. So people are sort of skeptical, and people are
Mhm.
more used to that online teacher. One teach, one do, that kind of thing,
Exactly.
and
Mhm.
that is why there's a lot of hesitation, or I would say a lot of skepticism in
Exactly.
investing in an online course.
Right. True, that's true. I believe that's true. As a student myself, when I was approached to online classes, I was a bit hesitant, obviously, because we hear this, right? They're not as effective as the offline ones. We don't get to do a lot of things online. It's just that we have to plug in our headphones or listen to the speaker most of the time. But I've tried making changes in here. So I don't want it to remain the same way. I want people to know that you can learn effectively using your online platforms. You can really depend upon them. If you like, if you're totally into offline classes, if you're like not interested at all in like the online ones, then obviously you could prefer the for the offline classes. But if you're something like that a person who is in need but is confused whether to go with offline or online platforms, then choose anyone. You can learn effectively right now. So things are changing. It's not the same that what you hear, that the online classes are not that effective, or they don't give out that value that you are actually seeking. Then it's not the same now. Things are changing, the methodologies are changing, the platforms are evolving, you know techniques are evolving, technology is evolving. So you have more number of opportunities now, more number of ways paved before you to utilize, to be able to deliver whatever you're teaching is effectively and easily as well. Technology has made it very easy now, right?
There was a bit of lag. Okay, so um, the thing with online classes is saves time, saves like a lot of energy. Like you have to dress up, go to the institution,
In short, it
study.
saves your hustle. It saves your hustle.
Yeah, yeah, you
You
can
have to
get
like,
it at your own ease, right?
exactly, exactly. So you can be
So
at your comforts of your place, comforts of your home. You all you have to do is just hold a gadget, place it right before you, and then you're good to go. But obviously, depends upon how active you are.
this is what. Otherwise, like how we hear right, the nuances where the student is teachers are they ask, are you present, and then he's like, yes, present, ma'am. That sort of
Or
thing.
you have this attendance marker. You don't have to ask each and every single person who is attending the classes online, okay, whether you're present, whether she's present, or whether he is present. You don't have to do it. Your attendance is automatically marked. If a person logs in or joins the session with a particular ID, then you're automatically marked as present. Even if you're physically absent, that you're still marked as present. One of the disadvantages, but that's why I request, like, if you really have to show that you're present, you gotta be on video. You gotta come on video, right?
Yeah, I think when students come on video, there's uh, more responsibility. They feel they have to be more prepared, and that gives that they need to be prepared. They need they if they're not serious, like if it's on audio or something, they might be sleeping, chopping up tomatoes or whatnot, and but if they come on video, they are like they have to be there, right? The teacher is seeing you, so you need to be prepared. That sort of thing.
Right, right. But I don't really encourage every single person to be on video. The other thing that I like, deal with, whether to know whether a person is really listening to me in the class, is by asking check-in questions. Like I said, I'm the person who speaks the least, and it's the other person who leads the session. So what I do is, even if they are not on video, I have this check-in questions. So this is one of the methodologies that I use. That if every 5 or every 2 minutes, I have a question coming up. Or say, suppose I just give you a formula, right? So I ask you, if that feminine round that comes at the end of a noun, then what does that noun become? So you have to answer me now. So that's how I make sure that the person is listening to me, that he's present in the class, even if he's not in video. So a lot of sisters, especially the Muslim sisters, they obviously don't like to be on video. This is for them, I don't want to see you. You're not encouraged to be on video. All you have to do is just make sure that you are active, at least on, verbally. At least you're always talking, and you're always answering to questions that I ask, and you're always leading the activities, right?
So I want to know how has the Arabic language, impacted you? How has it changed you, or I would say, improved you?
uh how has the language changed me? This was actually said by my dad. I don't know who the actual uh who this quote belongs to actually, but this was said by my dad that when you learn a new language, you know your capability, your mental capability expands so much that you'll be able to do a lot of things. And the way Arabic language has changed me is, I can say that it has helped me in inducing good traits, good traits of a human, yes. And then it has helped me grow personally. That comes under your personal development, personal growth. Obviously, to become a better person than I was before. And it has changed me, my perspective about life. About life, it has changed a lot, a lot. I used to think, life is just this, it just deals with these things. But when I started learning Arabic language, I saw it's not, life is not just, it is not connected to two or few strings here. It has so much to do. It has so much to do with life. And then obviously Arabic language has helped me develop valuable opinions. I don't just like give baseless, or you know or opinions that are not logical at all. So it has helped me to give valuable opinions, and have a better view on things, and make beneficial decisions, obviously. you know this has really helped me. Arabic language has helped me make beneficial decisions. So it's not like I'm making any decision that I would like to in a hurry, or without giving it a second thought. So it has helped me, like make beneficial decisions, and one of them is teaching Arabic language. Right. So, and yeah, like I told you, it has made me become more smarter and more wiser. So these are, like, a few things that Arabic language has helped me. This is how I have seen myself changing over a couple of years. Right.
That's something nice, Like, I ask this question to other people, and every time I get a different answer. It hits differently every time. So I
Exactly.
get to learn, you get to learn. It's nice.
Exactly.
And what's your take on the statement, Arabi nikale charbi, Farsi nikale tel, Urdu to kuch hai bhi, Hindi hai khel.
I come again, please. Arbi nikale charbi.
Arabi nikale charbi,
Okay.
Farsi nikale
Farsi
tel,
nikale tail. Okay.
Urdu to kuch hai bhi, Hindi hai khel. What's your take on the statement?
Arabi nikale charbi. Oh, is it like something that makes a person so exhausted or tired? Oh my God,
Exactly.
that's not not. I don't agree at all. It's completely false. Arabic is so easy. Trust me when I say this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has himself, mentioned this in the Quran. If I have to narrate it to you, then أعوذ بالله وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Indeed, we have made the Quran so easy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is speaking that, Arabic is very easy, Quran is easy. Then I don't know where we are like, chained with this thought that Arabic is very difficult, or it takes a person to be present at one particular place, sit for 8 years long, keep repeating the same thing again and again until he remembers. This is not right. This is not correct. Arabic is so easy. Just I gave you an example right now. It's playing with mathematics. It's as simple as that. So you gotta break these chains. You gotta break out of these chains. Give yourself, at least try once and see how you start falling in love with the language. So you take a step closer and you start loving the world that you are getting into. You just try taking a step. That's all I request you to do.
Yeah. That's nice you cleared this up, because someone told me this, I don't know, back so many years ago, and it stuck to me, like, and I think still this is the same thing, if you go and ask people, they'll remember, they'll be like, yeah, that's so true, right? But it's actually not true, right?
Exactly.
I've
It's not.
I've learned, under Khalid sir, and I've seen, it is like, it is so easy. Like, he breaks down it into simple forms. It's like A, B, and C.
Exactly. A, B, and C. Yes.
And I still feel that there's something which is like chaining people down to the ground, and
Hmm.
not letting them live up to the potential for their ability to learn the language and whatnot.
True.
And like I said, still, like, people have this notion that Arabic is tough. I don't know, where did this come from. Do you
Exactly.
think
I,
still people like say that Arabic is tough back in Bangalore?
oh yes. In fact, if I were to get 10 enrollments for the course, 6 or 7 out of them would obviously ask me, sir, do you think I can do it? Do you think I can learn Arabic language? I ask the question, why do you feel that? Why do you think you can't learn Arabic language? And they say, because, I've heard that it's difficult, it takes a long years to understand it completely. So, and now you say that you can learn Arabic language in 5 months. So I'm a bit confused and afraid at the same time. So that's the reason I'm asking you this question. I'll be like, if you do an Arabic language, if you don't find yourself that you have at least learned something in Arabic language after 5 months, then I'm ready to give back all the amount that you have invested in learning the three. So that is how I ask them, like, you give a try and see. And they are hesitant in the first class. They think like, no, yeah, okay, I've understood a little here and there. And then as we keep progressing, I'm not, like I said, I'm not doing the activities there. They are taking me forward. So that's how they start enjoying the language. That's how they start building upon the language there. So they are breaking those chains. They are breaking those chains. They feel, they can learn the language. So obviously motivate them. I make them believe that, this is how you got to learn the language. You take a step forward and the next step becomes easier for you. But you got to make sure that your first step is firm. You got to know that you are strong there. Only then the next step would be easier. If you are procrastinating in the first step, if you are like, lazy there, then you might or you might you might fumble there. In the next step you might even fall. So you're going to make sure you got to hold on to the first step firmly and then take the next step. So that's how it goes: A, B, and C, and then again in the next formula, A, B, and C. That's how it goes. And they are breaking my I see that people with these thoughts, the ones who think that Arabic language is very difficult, they are breaking those chains, and they are going out in the world and saying, "Hey, you know what, bro? The Arabic is easy. You gotta try."
That's so nice to hear. Like uh, when I had the interview with Khalid sir, and I mentioned him. Like how I wanted to learn Arabic, and I went to my teacher at college, and I told him, sir, I want to learn Arabic. He was in the masjid, and he was like, okay, beta, आप एक काम करिए, आप है ना इंटर, आप है ना कॉलेज के बाद में आप है ना बैचलर्स करिए, फिर है ना मास्टर्स करिए, फिर आप आलिमत करिए, फिर मुफ्ती बनिए, फिर आपको इतना सारा भी पता चले. was like, sir, what is this? I want to do other things with my life, and I don't think you need to become a mufti to understand alif batasa, and
No,
and that is what there's this sort of false that you need to respect, you need to like you need to, it's a language, right?
right,
This false perception of other god, yeah, you have to respect it, it's a word of god,
exactly.
but the false perception of other, and even if you do a mistake, they'll make it like uh, more grave than it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can make a mistake of alif and ba, and you can just mix it up, but
Right.
they try to make it more big, it discourages the person more than encouraging them. So that's what.
Right.
And like I said, I went on from that college, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the stir is still there. So he'll be telling the same thing which he knows to other different students, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And this is like basically like a pandemic, anti-Arabic pandemic,
More
And
contagious, I would say.
sorry,
More contagious, I would say.
yeah, and that's that's basically instead of trying to people to hold high regard for that, but in doing so they're actually more like pushing people away to learn Arabic. They're making the barrier for entry so high that you need to have a bachelor's master's from Osmania, and then you might be able to understand a little bit, whereas
No.
when you and your father, mashallah, like you said, when you guys broke down the barrier, like you don't know, you just need alif bata sa, I was like, wow, like the barrier for entry is so low that anybody, almost anybody can enter into that, from maybe a 10-year-old kid to maybe uncles,
Yeah.
right?
We have kids learning, as young as 6-year-old, and we have senior citizens to 70-year-old as well. So we have had them as students, and they feel the same thing. If you ask the 70-year-old one, he said that, one of the persons said that he wished he was a 6-year-old right now, so that until when he reached 70, he would have attained enormous amount of language. He would have understood so many things. But since he's 70 years old now, he wasn't sure how much longer he might live. So I said, and you can start learning a language, anything. And trust me, you get this hidayah of learning the Arabic language from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. All right. So not everybody gets this interest or develops, they develop it by themselves to learn the Arabic language. It is Allah that's planting a seed in your brains that you got to learn Arabic language. So yeah, but there is no, like you said, there are no entry barriers that you got to be a graduate or an engineer or at least be a 30 years old. No entry barriers. If you can identify and if you're aware of Arabic letters, alphabets, then that's good to go. That's the only prerequisite. Even if you're not, if you are completely new, I teach to new Muslims. I teach to new Muslims. They don't know anything except that they're just testified to Shahada. They're just testified, and they know nothing else apart from that. So I start them from scratch. I take them across to Aleph. So this is again, I give them rhymes. I give them rhymes so they enjoy the sounds. So they could hear the beauty of the language. So I assist them in Arabic alphabet rhymes. So I ask them to go through it for a day or two, unless and until they get familiar with the sound. And then I introduce them to the scripts, how the aleph is, how the ba is. So that's how I get them started. And they love it. I relate the script to the language they already know. So what is aleph? It stands for A. What is ba? It stands for B. So like that, there are special letters in Arabic language that the that which doesn't correspond with the English ones. So I asked them, these are the special letters in Arabic, and that's how it makes it, a special language. So they start enjoying. So there's no entry barriers, like like you mentioned. You need not be an engineer. You need not be a 30-year-old, or you need not be a 20-year-old, or experience holding kind of an employee or a person. If you know Arabic alphabets, if you have read a little of Quran here and there, if you like, maybe you may not be perfect, but if you're just aware of the letters, then you can learn Arabic. You can learn Arabic.
Again, that's nice, because hearing from you, I think, people will be more able to, I said, still people will be more comfortable hearing from you. This barrier thing, still again, I said, this sort of more social thing that, people say to other people without thinking twice that, that they're just going to
Exactly.
push them from Arabic. People say it like, it's like anything, nah, you need so much to study Arabic. No, it's not going to happen. Tumse nahi ho payega.
Right.
That sort of thing.
That's
So
true.
the next question I have for you, yeah, I was saying something. Go on, go on.
No, no, no. I'm good. Please go ahead.
There's a bit of time lag. I think that's what we are. We might speak over each other. So again, once again, I apologize.
No problem.
So like I was saying that do you have do you open these batches for non-Muslims also, because some non-Muslim might be interested in learning Arabic.
Anybody is welcome to learn the language. It's a language, first of all. We're not just teaching this language to help somebody understand the Quran, or it's not related to just Quran. Arabic is not related to only Quran, or it's a language, first of all. So if you want to learn Arabic for multiple purposes, maybe for a career opportunity in the Gulf countries, or maybe to be what do you call interpreter, or you have so many other career opportunities, or if you're learning the language as your personal interest or a hobby, then you're welcome to learn Arabic language. So there need not be specific reasons, or the reason shouldn't be just limited to understanding the Quran with respect to Arabic language. You can learn Arabic language for multiple reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying that it's open for non-Muslims also.
Yes, it is. It is. Anybody is welcome to learn Arabic language.
Wow, that's great to hear. So, do you have any program coming for Ramadan?
Yes, I do. I do. I have planned to, like, start a batch that deals with all the 30 days of Ramadan, or 29 days possible. Okay, and in it we'll be finishing the 5 months course in just 1 month. So in Ramadan, people find more time. They don't do any other thing rather than their work and ibadah. So even learning Arabic language in the times of Ramadan is considered to be an ibadah, not just in Ramadan. Okay, any time that you get connected with Arabic language, obviously you need to understand something, right? So when you start learning Arabic language, it's just like, it is considered to be a part of your ibadah. So you are actually gaining much more, good deeds, you can call it, when you learn Arabic language in the month of Quran. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the class every day, or we're going to break it into 4 days a week, so that we could have at least 3 or 2 days of, a gap, or else if people are really interested to, like, have it every single day, then we're going to do it for all 30 days. We're trying to finish the course of 5 months into 30, oh sorry, with just 30 days. So I have a program coming up with this, and it's not just be limited to Arabic language only. I'm going to I'll also be, like, inducing chapters about Iman, Ihsan, and how to nurture yourself as a Muslim, how you got to nurture your deen, your iman. So I'm also going to include a few chapters about that in Ramadan, inshallah. So
This is
I haven't yet sent out the registration link. Inshallah, I'll soon do that. I'll start it in the I'll start I'll send out the link in the at first of April, so that I could have at least 15 or 2 weeks, for the message to reach out and the people to enroll themselves. Right.
Yeah. So this, like you mentioned, this program is for Ramadan only. So they have special parts in it which is not available in the normal course, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's not available in normal.
So do you have any special consideration for people who might be watching this? Yeah, do they get a an entry into the course a little bit early, or something like that?
Yes, yes, they are like, I don't wait for an opportunity, or like, if a person is really interested, I don't ask him to wait to enroll him with a batch. So maybe if he's like, asking trying to learn the language at the end of the month, I don't ask him to wait for the batch to start from the next month. So if he's really interested, then I go personal, one to one. Or if he's like, he's interested but like to begin at a specific time, then that's when I ask him to enroll into a batch. So yeah, I do have special consideration, especially for for a community, that you don't have to worry about a lot of things. You don't have to think about them. It's just that you approach anybody, not just us, approach anybody, and ask them that you are interested to learn Arabic language, see what they say, see when they can get you started. So yeah, anybody who is getting to watch this video or this podcast, if you are interested in learning Arabic language, then you can obviously approach us, and we'll surely get back to you. We'll do our best to get you started as early as possible and with the most effective learning, inshallah.
Inshallah, that's good to hear because a lot of people watch this, and I want uh, and like I said, if there's a link or something, I'm sure you'll provide me with that, and
Inshallah,
they'll
yes.
be able to they'll be able to jump in right into the course instead of
Right.
like waiting for the next batch. And I think when people wait, right, slowly that number starts to
Interest
decrease, and the
losing.
interest and
Yes.
shaitan and whatnot.
Exactly. So that's the reason I
So
don't want like I don't like to make them wait. So you have given me the exact reasons that every single day interest starts to fade away, and we have shaitan manipulating us every single second, not days, every single second. So we don't know when that particular student might lose all his interest. Today he's interested, tomorrow he'll be like, no, sorry, sir, I'm not interested. So I don't want that to happen. As soon as you contact me, I'll be like, striving towards getting you started as early as possible. So I'll be like, okay, fine. Today you have contacted me. Tomorrow morning we're going to have an introductory session, and day after tomorrow we're going to begin with the course. So that's how quick I want to be with respect to the interest of a person towards learning Arabic language, especially. Right.
oh, that's nice. So like I said, this Ramadan course is really special, and this is for Ramadan specifically. The thing is, is it more rigorous, more intense? Because you said,
It is. It is. It
two
is
years
five
was
months.
compressed to 5 months, and which is again
Exactly.
compressed to
Again,
1 month.
1 month. Exactly. In 1 month, say in 5 months, we don't have regular classes. Okay, so we have it just twice a week, or maximum 3 times a week. So, but since Ramadan is just about 30, 29 days, we are going to have classes every single day. And maybe the sessions can, go far beyond than 1 hour. Maybe 1 hour, 15 minutes, maybe 1 hour, 20 minutes. But that is just you're investing every single day. It's part of your ibadah. I think, you shouldn't be feeling hesitant about this thing, about investing 1 hour or 1 hour, 15 minutes in learning or understanding the language. Right. So we're going to do every single day. We're going to have the sessions every single day. But the amount of work that I ask the student to do with respect to the handouts, it's going to be a little limited. You're gaining the same amount of knowledge, but the exercises, handouts, that's going to be a little that's going to be limited to a certain point. It's not going to be more. So you don't have to like invest 3 hours of your day in understanding and doing the handles and everything. So it'll be like 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 15 minutes of learning, and another just 10 to 15 minutes of exercises. That's all. So maximum 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 30 minutes, 90 minutes per day. So it's going to be a little rigorous. Some point you might feel it's just too much to take, but then I'm telling this again. Maybe in the initial 3 days you might say, okay, 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 but the fourth day you'll be like, I have to do it. That's the motivation that you get, not from me, but from the language itself. So the language will attract you, seek your attention. So you'll be more towards the knowledge rather than me. You'll be okay, sir, I got this. I'll do it on my own.
Mhm.
So
The
that's
sort of
how
thing.
it gets better.
So how are the timings going to be? We have sahur, iftar, and people have to like go to tarawih. I don't know how it's happening.
True, true. In the morning hours, maybe if people are working, they go to 9 to 5 shifts or 10 to 6, or we have people working
Work from home.
in the morning until iftar. Okay, then after iftar, they won't be getting good amount of time to learn the language. Soon after iftar, maybe in a few 1 hour, maybe just 1 hour, they go to isha, and then after isha tarawih, and then after tarawih, I think that wouldn't be a good time to do the language, to learn at the end of the day. You have
Well,
drained your energies, you are exhausted, you were fasting, and upon that work, and then taraweeh and everything, so you might want to rest. So that's not a good time to start learning the language. So the time I'm preferring is actually in the morning after fajr, not after suhoor, after fajr. So you are waking up, so you are developing this habit of waking up for fajr as well. Maybe you and I know, and it's between us, me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether who's waking up for fajr or who's not. He is all aware. But I want people, especially our community, to build even this habit of waking up for fajr. Slowly I might even ask them to wake up for tahajjud. Okay, but that will be their independent, their individual decision. I'm not going to persuade them. No, you have to wake up for with tahajjud now. Now, since you have developed this habit of waking up for fajr, it's going to be their individual decision. But I'm going to request them at least, try. You are waking up for fajr. Try waking up 20 minutes prior, 20 minutes early, just 20 minutes early, so that you can even offer some tahajjud. Okay, but that's going to be their individual decision. But yeah, I want to develop this habit of people waking up in at for fajr, not in fajr, at fajr, for fajr, obviously. So, and then immediately after fajr, as soon as they return to their homes, we can get started with learning Arabic language. So we have this good amount of time we are investing in ibadah. Okay, that we are waking up for fajr, we are praying our fajr, and immediately we are learning the language. So we are having a good amount of time uh, invested in ibadah, right? So
wow,
obviously
that's nice because
you're
yeah,
fresh, your mind's ready to observe all what you're about to see, or all about what you're going to hear, or listen to. So yeah, I think that's the good part of the day. That's the good part of your time, where you can learn the language effectively. And if you're sleepy, I have methodologies that can wake you up.
that's
Right.
nice. Because like especially with sisters and whatnot, they have to prepare that dahi bade and whatnot for iftar, and
Great.
and yeah,
So
like they
yeah,
have
I
this
asked
big
this
question,
question to my students. When we are having this, we're doing this formula, a chapter, and in it there was a word called sa'imun. Okay, sa'imun means a person who fasts, who observes a fast. So I asked them this question. Okay, in the next month, what are we, what are we going to? Which month are we going to meet? So they were like, Ramadan, sir. And I asked them, what do you do in Ramadan? Everybody's like, so we pray namaz, we fast. And I said, no, no, no. Before that, as soon as you see the moon, the first thing that you do is cover your TVs, right? Cover your TVs. And then the next thing that you do is, tomorrow I'm gonna have a nice meal for iftar. Oh, you're gonna have so many variety of dishes, or a variety of foods present before you, that you'll be dwelling that we will be dwelling since immediately after suhoor. Okay, I'm done with suhoor. I'm gonna plan what I'm gonna eat for iftar. Right from there, right from the morning. Forget about ibadah, brother. Right from the morning, you are into iftar. So these are the things that you're actually looking into. But I'm just kidding here. That's the thing that we are more into with respect to Ramadan. But I want people to know that Ramadan is just not with these things. It's not about suhoor. It's not about covering your TVs. It's not about saying tawbah, tawbah. It's not about that. And I don't know what those actions are. I asked them, why do you do this? What is it? It's astaghfirullah. It's more appropriate. What is tawbah, tawbah? I don't know. Even if you're saying tawbah, fine, acceptable at one point. But what is the action? Where did you learn this from? So I asked them, if we learn this from them, bro, you know what? You got to come out of this. It's not the
It's
right thing to
hilarious,
be. Yeah. So yeah, I asked them this question, and I try to have very light sessions. It's not like we're just focused on the language. I try to crack some gigs. I try to make the session more lively. It's not just you are listening to me and you get bored of me at some point. You're like, well, this brother keeps on speaking and doesn't let us even talk. So it's not like I told you. It'll be you who'll be leading me. It's like you're teaching me. I've just given you a hint and you're teaching me. So I'm giving you this opportunity to become leaders ahead so that you can get proficient in Arabic language and tomorrow you can start teaching. Right.
So the thing with like I said, Khalid Arabic Academy has been running for so many years. Are you guys hiring teachers and to
Yes,
spread the
we are.
message,
Yes, we
especially
are. Especially for the peoples who think they can, get started in Arabic language as their careers, become teachers in Arabic language. Like I told you, my dad is both a teacher of Arabic language and a trainer. So if you're like opting to become a trainer, then we have a separate course that can help you to get started teaching in Arabic language. So first, we're going to make you go through the course, help you understand language. Obviously, you don't have to hold a certificate to call that, I possess good amount of Arabic language. You know, it is just that we are coming across these certifications in recent times. Okay, but before, the knowledge was passed from father to son or from teachers to students. So that's how we got the knowledge. It's the same thing. I don't want, like, if you want to start teaching in Arabic language, then there's no such necessity that you got to hold a certificate or a degree in Arabic language. If you have possessed good and right amount of Arabic knowledge, then you can start teaching as well. So what do we do as Muslims? There's a hadith: خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. So the best among you is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it to others. So learning Arabic is language is nothing but you're trying to understand the Quran, right? So you're teaching it to others. So you start teaching Arabic language to others. So you're doing the same act. Right. So yeah, I can relate this with the hadith there. So yeah, if you know, even if you have learned one word of Arabic, one word, say suppose I said I gave you that Muslimun, if you add that round at the end, it becomes Muslimatun. If you can teach these two words, then you're doing a good act there. So you are a teacher. At least you're teaching two words, if not the whole language, you're at least teaching two words. So get started. You can get started, in teaching Arabic language with, even if you possess minimal amount of knowledge, but limit yourself to that. Don't try to put in your hands with other sciences of the Quran or other sciences of the language. So teach what you know. Teach only what you know, I say. Yeah.
So is Khalid Arabic Academy hiring teachers, or is it like few limited teachers, or how
We
is
have
it?
limited for now, but before, when we were running our institution, we were in need of teachers that could hold, sessions in different times. But since we are in we haven't yet got the approval or, like, the permission to hold offline classes with a good amount of students. Even if it's a good amount of student, I'd not like to, like, exceed more than five or six, because it's upon a teacher that he has to attend every single student. So if I'm investing 10 minutes of my time for one student, then 50 minutes is good enough, fair enough for a session of 50 minutes. So I just have five students, I can attend to them personally. But if I have 10 students and if I was supposed to invest 10 minutes to each and every single one of them, then it takes 100 minutes. So the session
Gosh.
might get elongated, right? So I don't like to go with, 10, a batch of 10 students or a batch of 20 students. No, I want to limit the number to five so that I could attend them individually, so that I can check them whether they're really able to understand. If not, I can repeat the chapter or the lesson so that they, and only proceed if they have understood it clearly. Right. So for currently we are not like hiring, but soon inshallah, once the offline classes get started, we might send out a word that yes, teachers who are like interested in teaching Arabic language or who wish to start a career in Arabic language, then they are welcome to get trained with us. We'll train them inshallah.
That's a good thing because like I've seen Khalid sir, he's been hustling down for so many years, and I think it's time that he you know he shouldn't be like a one man show, right? Or like one man, army, that kind of thing. And I want the team to like sort of build up and spread the
Exactly.
message. They say
Exactly.
that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go for long, you have to go
Long term.
together,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly.
So that's where I think like hiring more teachers and creating that team building, having the same values which
Exactly.
he laid down, and the same ethics, like you said, like making sure each student gets the attention that is
Exactly.
needed, making sure that each student understands, and
Hmm.
limiting the number of students and making it live one to one
Live.
instead of
Exactly.
recording. I feel this is more than necessary that that he does these things, and brings the teachers in place and builds the team, and he takes sort of a back seat. Not that he is he shouldn't work or something like that, but it's time that he's been hustling for I don't know how many 20 years or what.
Oh, it's been more than 26 years now. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So I like he's aging also, and I feel
Right.
the message needs to move on, and there's a need of
Right.
more teachers in Arabic. And I want to know what's the thing with Khalid Arabic Academy 5-10 years down the line? What do you see?
What do we see as Khalid Arab Academy 5 to 10 years down the line? Um, we have surely made the world know that Arabic is the most simplest language, and it can be learned in the easiest way, especially with the formulas that we have come up with. So that's how we're breaking the chains, and we're letting know that even a small kid who can you know uh, identify letters can start learning Arabic language. So even a small kid to the most senior citizen, you can call it, maybe even an 80, 90-year-old can learn Arabic language in the most simplest manner. That's how we've been seeing ourselves in the past 10 years down the line. We are breaking the chains, and we've been online from all these years. If you're talking about 10 years, we've been online for 10 years as well. So we've like adapted to so many technical aspects, so many other methodologies, so many other platforms, and now we think and we can deliver the message or the lessons exactly, or not exactly, with same effectiveness like we do it in our offline classes. So that's how we have seen ourselves improvising, alhamdulillah.
Uh, so is this open for international students also, from students from the Middle East or maybe
Right.
overseas?
Right, it is
Because I
open.
feel there's a time difference and whatnot.
That's true, but when it has to come live with different times, maybe in Canada we might have morning, but here in India we have evening. For those kinds of the students, even if they like to if they would still like to learn with us, so what do I do is I record every single session. But this doesn't mean I'm just providing them with recorded classes. Okay, so what do I do is if they like to learn with us, so obviously they'll be in a batch. So I'm going to record every single session, and then that file will only be sent to him, and it will not be shared with other batches. That file, it is just for him specifically, so that he can go through it, and if he has any doubts, he can ask me anytime. Okay, anytime. Maybe he can wake me up in the middle of the night and he can ask me, you know what, brother, I didn't understand it. Could you help me? And I'd happily help him. So that's how we do for the ones who are having different time zones. If not, if we are let's say, suppose it's evening in some other part of the world and it's midnight here, say around 10 to 11 or 11 to 12. Okay, so if it's that, then I can still go ahead with them, but that will be online again. Okay, I don't I don't think it's difficult for me to stay up till 12 o'clock in the night just to help somebody learn the language. I can do it.
That's great to hear because I feel and not all, this is not only limited to people in India. Like you
Exactly.
mentioned, you have the students coming from a Saudi student coming from Riyadh, Jeddah, and whatnot.
Right.
So that's nice.
And I
And
have students learning currently with me from Saudi, from US, sorry, not from US, from Dubai. So I have students from the Middle East who are learning from me.
so that's great to hear. So now this is the last part of the podcast. This is where I ask questions to bring life in perspective. So, what is
Okay.
that one thing the pandemic has taught you?
One thing the pandemic has taught me, no matter what, you gotta be yourself and you're gonna work on yourself. You gotta be yourself and you got to work on yourself. And nothing can tear you apart. Be it pandemic or any crisis, nothing can tear you apart if you are working on yourself regularly. So it's like I'm consistently building myself every single day, be it with respect to my personal growth or my language or my skills, be it anything. Every single day, I'm investing a little amount of time to grow myself. So yeah, if it's related to the business, then obviously, you're going to be having some kind of business that can generate you some passive income, or that can generate you apart from all the crisis or disturbance that you may walk across. But that business should still be able to generate you good income, good what do you call revenue, right?
So, and that's some solid thoughts over there.
I like to be
Like,
upfront. There are no filters. There are no filters. If it's related to business, obviously you got to have something that should be able to generate you income passively. And if it's related to your own self, then you should be working on yourself every single day, so that you get stronger. You get stronger and stronger and stronger. And if it's something related to emotions, then everything fades away. Everything fades away. Right. The other thing that it taught is like uh, you got to be you got to be aware of your surrounding as well. This comes, Islam teaches us this. Actually, look at the beauty of this. Islam teaches us to be aware of what our neighbor is going through. So we got to be aware of our environments. We got to check on each other's. Right. So that's one more thing that I have learned. I wasn't very open with everybody. I like to be, I'm an isolated kind of person. I like to be on my with myself. So when things started happening, when the pandemic and the corona stuff started happening, I started to check on every single person I knew. So you know, uh, they were happy. Out of somewhere, out of the blue, I'm contacting them, asking them how are they doing. So they really felt about that thing, me contacting them, and I felt a little, what do you call. Uh, a little act, a small act can, make someone so happy. There, I think, pandemic would have made somebody happy. I think I can agree there.
yeah. So the next question is, if you could meet three people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Dead or alive. Three people. I obviously want everybody to be alive. I don't want me like meet them dead, because
I mean, like,
everybody
if they were dead, if they are dead now, you could still meet them.
okay, if they're dead now, I can still meet them. Um, you got me here. I have to really think about this question. But it was like, what do you call? There's like knockout sessions, right? You have a limited time within that you have to answer. If it
No, no,
was that,
no,
eh,
nothing. Best restaurant, get best food, everything. You sit with them, chill, that sort
right,
of thing.
like three persons. Um, for sure, one is my grandmother. Okay, and for various reasons, but one of the persons that I'd want to meet right now is my grandmother. And what are the other two? Dead or alive? Three persons you would like to meet, right? Dead or alive? Three persons that you'd like to meet. Uh, this is so hard. I thought I could do this, but it just keeps getting harder. Okay, okay. Can we just skip?
Yeah, I mean, like you can just think three people. Like three people right up there. We have time. No worries.
Uh, yes, once my grandmother, once my teacher,
Mm,
and dead or alive, another person. Obviously, my parents. My parents. So, my grandmother, my teacher, and my parents.
that's
I'm not yet
that's
married.
nice.
If not, I would have obviously included my spouse. If not, she would have been mad over me. See, this is like, kind of politics here.
So really fun having a chat with Brother Uzair, and I'm sure you learned a lot because I did. And the links will be down in the description. You guys can go check it out and enroll ASAP. And even if you don't enroll ASAP, get in the Ramadan batch because it has special parts. And
Right.
yeah, I think that will be it. Until that, you guys know what to do. Stay blessed, keep taking action, and we'll see you in the next one.